Look, let me hold it down. You had me about to bust out in tongues up in here.
And I was going to say that when we were talking about spirit.
I felt it.
I've been speaking in tongues in the spirit since I was a young age that did not know what it was. I remember laying in my bed speaking it because I needed to be covered for whatever was that had touched me, had attached
What just
to
came
me.
back? What you said it was called earlier? The unconscious. You just said it.
Knowing unknowingly.
Knowing unknowingly. You did.
Can
That's
we pause for a second?
yeah.
Yes. What's coming to me is that, beautiful.
That was
beautiful.
amazing.
Do you receive it?
I received it.
Ashe. Because that was for you. That,
It was.
Us.
It was. It was for me.
It was for me too. It was for it hit me, but I receive it. You
Sometimes
receive
that's
it.
the part.
You know what I'm saying? For us to pause. And going back into think like the funeral is coming up. Because you're saying you haven't, you feel bad. What do we do with those feelings?
They convert
Because
to
there.
grief.
They're there for a reason. And there is an aspect of the old you that is, you're going through the stages of grief of dealing with that person. But you're also going through other stages of like proclaiming and coming into actualization of who you are. And so just as much as we go to the beach, maybe a good idea to go to the cemetery.
Which is cool. I can go visit my dad.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool for me.
But to bring an aspect of that old you.
To bring there.
And,
Go bury her.
And lay her to rest and celebrate and honor. Because nothing ends. Nothing goes away.
No, it doesn't.
And it'll bring those aspects
Give
of
her back
that
to the ground.
Yes.
So,
and the parts that still are feeding you, that part of her that was there that you may miss will be there. That work of honoring what was so that you can truly embody who you are now.
Who I am now. So you say that, right? So
Can I show her something?
yes.
Can you look at that question I wrote? The first question I wrote for Noni.
Who were you when you first joined Bedroom Candy, and who are you trying to become? You can't make this shit up.
Can't.
No. So we're cleaning out our storage that we got in 2017.
Is it kicking up emotions?
For the last 3 weeks, it has caused me a lot of pain, anxiety, going through the motions. And I remember being asked, why do you feel this way? And what my response was, the last time I cleaned out the storage unit, this is what happened.
Right.
And it was like,
Fair.
you are, okay, that happened. That just happened to be a coincidence, but that doesn't mean that's going to happen now. But BK knows my story.
You still got score on it though, even though it might not happen again. The experience of having
the
it.
cycle's
So
coming.
actually, yes. So the BK community does know. So 2024 came to clean out my storage. That was January. February, I had my most amazing month in network marketing overall. It doesn't matter what company. BK is my 10th. I've never had success in any network marketing company until I became in Bedroom Candy. February set me up for my March. My March, I was illegally evicted out of my apartment. If it wasn't for the month I had in February, that God aligned for me that month,
To transition quickly.
I was able to have a deposit. I was able to stay in a hotel for a week. I was able to book a storage unit for like 6 days because I was at a, So instead of my brain thinking and my system thinking of, look what that great thing happened with that, it's going into
You had a bodily response. I remember when we was here.
Like, it was like, ooh, so that was a conversation. It's like, this is different, but I know what I'm speaking into existence.
Right.
Especially with my next chapter.
Right. Yeah. And I think that the feelings are asking you, have you dealt with the pain that brought up? Or did you avoid some things and move forward fast? It's giving you an opportunity to clean out that residue emotionally.
I feel like
it's like a checkpoint,
I kind of did a combination of both.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's real. I did a combination of both. I was like, holy shit, this is what's happening. But you know what? I don't got time. I don't have time. I don't
hit
have
you
time
how
for
it did
anything.
before.
So now it's different. So, but I also know what I've been speaking over my life. I also know the change,
The
that I'm
programming you put
speaking.
into you.
The
Yeah.
intimacy
I also know
you
what
see?
the fact of January, Spirit had already told me you need to be talking about chronic illness and wellness and intimacy. Stop playing. You need to do this. You
Yeah.
need to do this. You need to do this. And in March, I went to a retreat, and I remember having a conversation because I'm like, damn, all the work, and like nothing is showing for it in the sense. In the
You couldn't see it in the moment. Yeah.
Right. And I remember being said to me is your pivot is speaking about your experience.
Yes.
People
yes.
want to know what's going on because so many people be like, oh, I remember I posted a picture. It was like, oh, you just seem so happy. And I was like, because I posted a moment? You have no idea what has happened. 2022 changed the trajectory of my life.
Honey.
In my health. 2025, we didn't think I was going to make it to my 48th birthday. And I'm about to turn 49. So anybody that's close to me knows how true that statement is.
Right. You know, it is, I've seen time and time and time again, you know, our valleys are treasure chests for the work that you probably placed on this earth to do, like you had to heal it within yourself so that you could do it for others.
Right.
You know, I remember for myself, you know, inside of my journey of domestic violence and divorce, and people are like, how did you get the spiritual journey? And I'm like, oh, I got divorced. You know, my life caught on fire, and here I am. You know, and so I want
words that I've never thought about. 2022 caught my life on fire.
Life caught on fire, baby.
It's like a phoenix effect. You know, it's so
Literally.
funny. So, you know, preparing for this episode with Noni, I actually went and dug up my notes from my first coaching call with her in 2021. I don't delete nothing. Okay, God has also made me a artifact of a library of everything.
You the historian,
baby.
and
I will recall. You be like, what?
You got to tell the backstory on how you end up having this conversation with me, though.
Yeah, it's also because she was running away from some pepper she wasn't feeling. Now, let me just say, so people who don't understand that the direct selling industry, she was on my team when I was in the consultant community. I have a different space with the company now, but when I was a part of the consultant community, a person who I had sponsored under me sponsored Noni, and then that person pretty much disappeared. And the sponsorship is not necessarily, it's more so mentorship. I always like to look at it from mentorship. So the guidance that she might have needed, she might have, you know, so now she coming to me, her hard-headed ass.
The great ones are
right. The big little sisters. It's always the big little sisters of my life. I just want y'all to know. But there were some things that I wrote down for resources, and full circle. The first resources that I said, Noni needs to dive into the 4 phases of competence. What do we talk about today? I mentioned unconsciously competent. She mentioned knowingly unknown, right? Unknowingly known, right? And what do the 4 phases of competence represent? The process that we go through anytime we're trying to develop or a new, right? So we go through this phase of not knowing what we don't know. We figure out, okay, I don't know it, and we make a decision whether we want to know it, need to know it, or not.
Right.
But then that next phase where you have to be consciously competent, meaning I got to work at it consciously. It takes a conscious effort. It takes ritual. It takes you constantly dialing into it little by little before it becomes unconscious. And then you reach that phase. But the key to the 4 competence cycle is after you hit phase 4, where you go back to
Phase 1.
You go back to the first phase. And so the fact that that was the resource that I literally linked in our coaching call just hit me when you spoke. The other thing that Noni said, I wrote down that everything you said to me in that conversation, what I used to do on coaching calls is I would write down one sentence that I felt embodied the whole conversation. Okay. The one sentence I wrote was, she wants to focus more on cultivating relationships. She may not be as comfortable with social media. She has a blended personality, but she has the ability to make relationships with those personalities that feel unseen. That's what I wrote down for you.
And I do.
In my first coaching call.
I do.
And I'm saying that to you because you said you did not have success in other industries. You also said no matter what you was going through, you were still seeing the other side of it. And at that moment when we had that conversation, you absolutely felt like you had no direction and no loss. And you had already spoken what you're doing now years ago. You had the direction that you didn't even realize. I never actually told you what to do. My conversations with you have always been guiding to you to what you already know. And then you took that relationship building, the intimacy that you wanted to develop in those relationships, you put together an intimacy journal, and you're expanding that now to target a specific group of unseen people in the conversation. And when I say, baby, we didn't even just a full circle, that's an infinity loop, right? You are already walking in everything that you've been spoke over yourself. Right. So I've discovered in the process of dealing with my biggest pain in the ass that I love the most is you just need to be redirected to your own thought, your own self, because somehow when certain life experiences were occurring for you, it was causing you to question what you already knew because of the uncertainty of that circumstance. It created this ripple of, I don't feel sure about shit. I don't know if I'm making the best decisions. I don't know if I'm doing the right things. I don't know if I'm going where it's just like this one area doesn't speak over every aspect. It's just this area. Maybe there is a lesson you still got to get over here, but it doesn't mean you ain't learned shit either. And that's what you were speaking to. Yeah. You were positioned differently in this timing than you have been before when you experienced the trauma. So even though you have the emotional memory in your body of what the first experience was, you can now add the new memory that you were already positioned to transition, right? And that death and that mourning of the space that you no longer needed to be in any goddamn way is the other part of it. So I went through that the hardest part, and I'm saying this to you. Look, I did an actual count, and I'm 36 years old. I've lived in 31 places in my life. So I need you to imagine how much instability that means that my life experienced from, I would say, the earliest age that I can remember being separated from my home was 11. But the first time I moved, I was 3. I remember being in a shelter with my mother at 3. So when I realized every time you got somewhere, you never nested because it was always some unforeseen circumstance that you did not have control over that took you out of that place, that made you feel like you can't get comfortable nowhere. Because every time you think you're going to get comfortable, some shit about to change. What that created for me was a person who did not. I learned that lesson for the first time this year. I'm telling you guys, we come to y'all as healers, but we also in the fucking work, right? We living in it. It didn't hit me until now because this move was different. This was the first time. When I moved this time, first of all, we had the money. We didn't like that we had to spend the money on that because we had other plans for it, but we had it. But also, I did something with this move that I've never done. And I prioritized my need over the household. I did not allow myself to settle for a home that didn't have my goddamn tub.
Right.
And that water it's not something I like. It's something I require.
Yes.
I need fluidity. I need movement. I need motion. I got to shake this ass or whatever the case is. Because everything I do is connected to motion. Even heat stimulates blood flow. It gets the blood moving through the body. So I like to be in hot climates. I like everything is saying, but you got to move. You
can't be still.
And I learned
what you're speaking with my next move. It's not a move of, oh, I'm just packing up and going.
Yes.
No.
It's I've been going through this transition since 2024 on, no, this is the place where I'm going. This is the place. This is where I'm going.
You're your own GPS.
I'm not moving the way I moved to where I live now.
Right.
This is actually setting up the things.
Right.
And I've been saying, all I need is the connection.
Yeah.
All I need is the connection. This is the salary. This is the career. Because whatever I do, if it's a regular 9-to-5 job, will only get 5 to 10 years of my time. And it will be limited.
You are finally becoming your own GPS.
Let me tell you what that is.
Please do,
What
girl.
that is you have successfully moved out of survival mode into thrive mode. And sometimes when you are actively moving out of survival mode, sometimes life has to make you take a step back to be like, I have survived. I have survived in the past tense. And now I may feel weird, but it's weird because thriving is maybe a little new to me. And I have to realize that I'm done over there. and I just got to recalibrate myself and what thriving looks like to me. I didn't have to. I wanted to, and I wasn't trying to make it happen.
Right.
I'm creating a flow that feels best for me. Like you said, you prioritize yourself. You're doing those things like, oh, I got to just live somewhere because I got to live somewhere. Where it's like, no, this is what I require, and it's
Right.
a plushness to it. So again, to me, I feel like a big thing of this episode has been taking a step back for you to celebrate
gain that
yourself, for all
perspective
of
and
us
celebrate,
to celebrate
yeah.
ourselves of transitioning out of survival to thriving. And I want to just speak to, we talked about spirituality and ritual and practice, and like those things, the things that are in this book, the actual work, it creates some kind of flow outside of ourselves to get us like, okay, heal how, those are the mechanisms to get us from that A to B to Z,
Right.
out of that whole alphabet of survival into this limitedness of, being beyond the sky, the limit, the universe is the limit,
Yeah.
the stratosphere
That's
is,
right.
there is no limit.
That's
Yeah.
right. And especially for us women, because we are creatresses,
Ooh, I like that
like
word.
we are the space that things can be grown in. And so it's like, I see so much for you. And you had said, like, at the time when you did that first coaching call, that you had already spoke what you are doing now, even from a place of like, probably were hurt or scared or whatever.
She was just venting.
And just having we were having the mentorship call,
Right.
as she was saying.
And she said you go after the 4 stages, you go back to 1. And so whatever you're saying now, know that you're doing the same thing.
Going back to 1.
You're doing the same that you already are speaking.
Except, here's the thing. You're doing it with the wisdom of every other time that you went to phase 4.
And it's no
And that's the
scarcity.
part.
There's no scarcity there.
It's
abundance.
It is definitely, the whole process is different. So I created another journal that's actually going to be released on August
Okay,
29th.
Talk about it on her birthday.
On my birthday.
On her Earth Day.
Not doing that Beyonce dropping
Yeah.
on them. Virgo,
Drop it
yes.
on my birthday. And actually today,
Very Virgo.
June,
I love it.
July 21st is the pre-sale date. The first 50 people actually get it for $25.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so they can definitely go in and get their pre-sale. After 50, you're going to have to pay 30 for it. But it is actually called the Intimacy and Wellness Journal.
Okay.
So it's not even just journal prompts. It has medications, how you feeling.
Nice.
I'm writing you a letter every month, and you have to write yourself a letter. You have to keep track of your water. You have to keep track of what your body's feeling, your appointments, because I took it from a place of me. I remember having this conversation with someone and like going through the things on what's in the book, what's in the journal. And she was like, you were so intentional with this. I said, I absolutely was extremely intentional with
Right,
it.
'cause you live
to
in
the
this.
to the point of writing down symptoms that you may forget because your doctor's appointment is 6 months from now,
Right.
but you
Yes.
know on July 21st, my toe was hurting. It ain't never hurt before, and I need to understand why this happened to me. And because you don't always have someone to go to doctor's appointments. I
Right.
live alone. It's not like my partner is 5 minutes away. It's a 2-hour away, right? My daughter is hours away. So it's a difference. My mom is hours away. So when you think about it, it's like, okay, I have to go to these appointments by myself.
Yeah, you've created
I
a
have
support
not
system for yourself.
written down, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. There are people who are in the chronic illness industry, it's crazy how the support is not there, but there.
Right.
Kash mentioned
don't know what you don't know.
before you even talk to me, you didn't even ask me, you didn't give me no support prior. And I know that when I first got my diagnosis, I was like, what is that? Okay, I have DVT. Okay, cool. Okay, take some medication. That'll be gone. And because my DVT, quote unquote, came out of nowhere, they was like, we got to go a little deeper. Okay, this is what came back, which is anti-phospholipid lipid syndrome, where the proteins in my body causes blood clots. So I had a conversation. When I talk to people, I'm like, I don't put myself in the same position as someone who is diagnosed with cancer or things like that.
Right.
I said, also, APS falls under lupus.
Right.
So within 2 to 5 years, anyone who is diagnosed with APS has some form of lupus.
You know, so I went through my own health journey the past like 2 years, like last year or whenever it was a hurricane, honey, whatever in Houston. But I also thought maybe I had lupus or different things like that, and I know exactly what you're talking about inside of this thing happened, and then you go to the doctor, you forget it, you know, and you know, I'm searching doctors and who's right and all those things, and you know, the big thing that I learned that I think you're speaking from on a wellness side and probably what's in your journals is, you know, a lot of this is linked back to our emotions.
Oh, Jesus.
You know?
Absolutely.
I gotta leave.
And blood.
Our
What is
emotions.
blood? What is blood linked
Exactly.
to?
Exactly.
This one right here.
And so that, like when we say healing, like it's a loaded word. I have a book that talks about the metaphysical reasons for medical issues, right? And a lot of these things like go back to, you know, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your parents, how you feel about, you know, your sexuality, how you like bedroom candy is not just here for nothing. Like it's pleasure.
It's bigger
but
than
it's
what it,
bigger than that. You know, when we say do the work and we tell you to go masturbate for 30 days, like it's emotional. It's emotional.
So I'm happy we're here. I had to spray Keep Your Cool twice in this episode. Earlier, you made a point about the cooling aspect of your head.
Yes.
This product is called Keep Your Cool.
Okay.
It was actually a product we introduced to help menopausal women, perimenopausal, dealing with the hot flashes, right? And I always like to give everybody basic. Let me just say, y'all know, bedroom candy don't play about an ingredient deck. We don't use anything in products that don't need to be in there. Main ingredient being water. But there's also other things in there. There's eucalyptus. There's castor oil. There's flower water extract. Yeah, you can actually feel the menthol when it hits you too. Of course, yes. We have a couple of different seed waters in here that I'm seeing here.
Rose water in there too.
Yes, there's rose water is a huge component of it right here, and then like lavender. Is also in there as well to add that. So you kind of get the combination of that eucalyptic meets lavender collide. What this product was that little thing that you can keep, you know, in your bag. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I was talking about this just from perimenopause and those aspects.
And
but
it helped me last
literally,
week, y'all,
when you were saying the instant cool down, it was like, okay, we've got this water that we've formulated and packed with all these nutrients that support that cooling of the system and that reset that you referenced with your partner earlier. It kept hitting me, and it was so funny because I said, "Keep Your Cool" is a product I wrote to talk about, and we just ended up talking about the benefits of cooling down.
Yes,
can't make it up.
Can't make it up.
But I had to spray myself just now because one, I feel the temperature in my skin. I am ovulating. So my temperature is already elevated. A lot of ladies don't know. It's one of the biggest tells. If you don't know to recognize the other one, your body temperature will shift when you are in heat, literally. And because of that, and I'm in this deep drive creation space within my body, shit keep hitting me crazy. So I want to say this because I want you to elaborate on where you were just going.
Okay.
I like to take the complex things and make them simple. My latest catchphrase been make it make sense. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of shit that don't make sense. And my thing is, I realize my logical brain can't even begin the emotional processing if you ain't make it make sense. Or I can't make it make sense. But
that's why I made my stuff simple.
Right. And so the thing that I like to, one of the simple things, make it make sense, make it simple. Okay. 2 things. Emotional intelligence we talked about. Emotional intelligence, we talked about vocabulary need for it. We talk about self-awareness. We talk about self-regulation, empathy. All these words already came up, and they're all components of it. Emotions, to me, are data. We say knowledge is power.
Yes.
So if knowledge is power, what is the knowledge in your feelings, right? If your emotions are data, they're really just communicators, right? They're communicators of signals, and we look at even the bad emotions disgustingly. And I say over and over, you say that until that pain took you to the doctor, or that pain took you somewhere where you discovered a problem that you may not have ever been aware of. And we feel also the deception when we learn that things are happening in our body that we don't think our body signal. But I found that represents some level of disconnect from the body where you didn't hear the signals.
DVT is definitely one of those that it actually but you can kind of tell when something is going on. If your legs are burning, if your legs are swollen, if your legs are hot, if you can see there's inflammation, they're painful, that is signs for you to take your ass to the hospital to get tested, because you don't want it to be where it's a PE. I happened to end up finding mine the very first time. It was in my groin area, so it was climbing up there.
Yeah, and the thing about it is
something was
wasn't right.
Is it stress activated?
See, that part I'm kind of trying to figure out, and I'm only saying that because I also had DVT last year, and that's what actually ended up getting me to the point of intimacy and breaking away from it, because now I'm on injections. Before I was on warfarin, so it was different. I was just popping a pill. It was like doing it. Now I inject my stomach. So where I thought I felt good and felt pretty, my stomach looks like I've been in a fight.
Understood.
Every single day.
Understood, yes.
So now, like, my logo is actually me putting a heart on my stomach.
I took that picture.
Yes. It's a and you can see the black and blue, but it's a heart, like literally.
The black and blue formed a heart on her stomach.
Yeah, that's how stuff
It was
happens.
so cute. It was so beautiful.
Yes.
And
she that
just,
particular day, I wasn't going to wear this short shirt because I have to give myself injections in my stomach and the black and blues. And that particular day in Atlanta, it was hot. And I had on short shorts, a shirt
crop top.
and a crop top. And we just happened, and I just took the picture. And that was the moment that it was like, you have to, it's time for you. I've even done on my YouTube page showing you giving myself an injection. Was I giving myself an injection? I think I was. I think I was showing how to give my injection to like a 7-minute video walking through me giving myself an injection. Talking about, I even did a video with me putting my medicine together for the month.
Right.
So it's real to me. This is every day. And there's a lot of people out there that are going through that, that don't want to talk about it.
Right. And see, that's why I say, like, literally that heart on your stomach and talking about how your deepest valleys and your pains and your struggles and the things that we go through are the treasures, the gems to your purpose, to what you're supposed to be sharing, to you being in alignment with your destiny. Like, it's almost like wild to think, oh, if I did not have this illness,
right, you might not have this.
I might not be in alignment with my like, wow, I came here to this earth,
right?
And you're supposed to touch.
And honestly, that's a battle. That's a battle that I was like, okay, I'm focused on intimacy. Okay, great. There's like 300 million people that's doing the same thing. What makes me so different? And it wasn't until it was like, no, you have to put it in intimacy with chronic illness. You have to.
Right.
Because one, like you said, when you're not seen
in the
per se in the
Absolutely.
conversation, there's somebody be like, listen,
you lost too. You out here searching, looking for
and that's your people. That's your tribe. That's your, I feel the same way just inside of, okay, sexuality, my big thing, because I'm a tantric practitioner too. I studied and all those things. And it was like that bridging the gap between spirituality and sexuality, because there's a lot of people inside of African traditional practices, the church, whatever. But we are sexual beings.
That part.
And they definitely are unseen. And you don't, yeah, there's, spirituality, or there's church, or there's this, but the first priestesses were the sacred whores.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They actually talked a lot about the harnessing of sexual energy and how high priestesses, it's so funny. I'm about to slap y'all with this one. I swear to God, y'all.
I'll take a titty.
Because it's almost, some people might feel like this feels witch-like. I promise you I did not prep them. I promise you. I did not.
All. I actually was looking for the email.
I was.
I'm not going to lie. Only because I've worked with you. I've been your assistant. So I know anybody coming aboard always gets questions prior.
Oh, I didn't send you questions on purpose because your ass an overthinker.
I was like, okay, so where are my questions? It is like Tuesday and she did not send me these questions. I have to go in
because you would have came in here performing instead of being. And I know that about you. So I couldn't give you too much time to think about it ahead of time, because it would not have came out how it came out today. You would have figured out what you needed to protect it. You would have figured out what you needed to say pretty. You would have had your notes. You would have had your catchphrases. You would have all that shit ready.
I did.
You a Virgo. You think I'm stupid?
Right.
You is a detail or you can't even even live without a note. You probably got a note on that napkin right now.
It's actually in my phone.
Right.
I did. I'm not even gonna lie. On my way here, I went in the chat. I was like, so this is what I'm gonna be. This is what I'm doing. This is what the conversation's gonna be.
And I'm about to break all your rules.
All up. And did not have not one part of that conversation.
I was about to break all her rules. And the thing is, I know who I'm dealing with, and if you sit on this couch, I'm gonna find out who I'm dealing with. But I think this is what came to me just now that I feel like actually transitions us to where I wanted us to go to, because I do want to talk about some of the kink and the product aspect, and it's a deep part of that kink thing, because something we said earlier, I put those restraints on the table. And I actually thought that there was going to be a purpose of discussing them that came up in one of y'all, but it actually came up in me, and it's crazy. I didn't plan that. But we had a retreat.
We did.
We executed a retreat. The retreat is called Reclaiming Me Retreat. Right?
Reclaiming Me.
It's the treat. When I did this retreat, Noni worked for me. Like, let me say not work for me, work with me. Because I can't even say work for me, because she told me what to do too. So, am I lying?
It's real.
No, she's very.
The people who in my life I run, they run me too.
Yes.
So the retreat's goal, the reason why I called it Reclaiming Me was real simple. It's almost directly in the words, but for me, special needs mom, I wear 1,000 hats. I wear 1,000,001 plus one. I think I got a new one as we were sitting here. A new one just got added. And because of that, it starts to alter the connection with the core identity. And when I speak about that, I'm talking about the identity that leads to your life fulfillment, not the identity shaped in the goals and how much money you're gonna make. The thing that's gonna say, if I complete this with my life, I feel like I'll be able to know what my life contributed to the ecosystem of the world, right? So I feel like I started to notice all of the women around me and us. We started off success bonding, and then we started trauma bonding, right? Mm-hmm. We all came into this business to make some money, to sell a project. We got toys swinging off the mountains and the screens, the sex swings on the doors, all that fun stuff. That's cool. We all had to sneak wellness into our demonstrations because you guys book parties and y'all want to see the dildos that vibrate. But when we talk about the soap to keep your coochie right, you don't want to talk about that.
Right,
but we
right.
Oh, wait.
Or you shy about the toy because you don't know what's there.
Or the lube that you need to make sure
I don't need
you don't
lube.
get. I got the wop.
Girl, and I don't
wop.
need lube. And you know, I've been killing them with this one. They be hating me with this. I'm like, would you use, if you had a squeaky door, would you put water on it or WD-40?
Right.
And when they answer, simple, because the water is not going to do nothing for that creek.
Right.
So
When you put that cast iron pot,
you have to understand, right? You got to.
Or it ain't gonna.
And what do they call it? They say we seasoning the man. You heating that bitch up, and you giving it what it needs.
That's wisdom. That's old school.
That's old school seasoning the cast iron. That's why that got passed down, because you needed to inherit that. Y'all think y'all
that lubrication is not new. It's old.
That part.
You thought you was just supposed to inherit what they cooked in that pan before, but you was supposed to inherit the things that they was going through when they was holding that pan too.
As they was frying that chicken and that pork chop.
And the same pan that they baked the cornbread in. Okay, that's the everything pan. Okay, so
and the eggs.
That's with the pork fat that they saved.
Yes.
And I was thinking about, again, those things we got away from, right? Because I don't play about that cast iron. You know that's the first thing. Any of you guys, y'all do anything wrong with, you can get evicted from your home with that cast iron pan. So I said we did this retreat, and Noni was a part of the team to execute the experience. The first conflict that I couldn't move past, and this is why I know how your brain works, because mine do it too, was I felt like I couldn't charge for it. Remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
was
said,
like, oh, hell no.
I said, she's
That's
like,
something that we go through.
We
as
go through
healers,
it. We go through it.
We want access. We want people to have access.
We do. And we know that the people who need it most are the people with the least access.
Right.
So there's a guilt associated. We're asking for what it's worth because we know that we're putting a price on wellness.
I understand.
And that does have a comp, right? But God said, all right, little girl, I got you. Hush your little head. He gave me a big sponsor.
An amazing sponsor.
I literally talked about it with you, and you were the one who said to me on call, so why don't you just go to them and tell them you don't want to charge people for it? When I was talking about Planned Parenthood.
Yep.
Because I was working with them over...
You speaking to me right now.
Heavily.
Contracted with Planned Parenthood. We started doing Wellness Wednesdays when the pandemic happened. Okay. And so I would come on for Planned Parenthood and we would hold space. Remember the abortion rights things?
Yes.
Roe v. Wade. All of that happened in that same period. So we had to have a lot of intentional discussions around womanhood. So I'm a person, and trigger warning to anyone. Not only have I've had an abortion once in my life, I've experienced child loss a multitude of times, and with multiples more than once, right? So I'm not even going to get into the grasp of it. But the first time that I went through that experience, I was an 18-year-old girl all by myself. The second time I went through that experience, I was a consultant with Bedroom Candy. And I came into this community to get business acumen to make some money. But when I went through that, who held me up? Who created the space?
The BK community.
The BK community. I sat on the phone with the girl who was my sponsor as I was losing my children in the hospital. She was the one on the phone with me. She was no longer just my sister in business. She was now my sister, right? When I was struggling with conflict about direction, and I booked that call with Frida, or I booked that call with any of the, anybody, and I just needed to bounce those ideas off of them, and they helped me work through my creative flows. We were no longer just business partners. Nope. You directly became a part of that. Yes, you were my sister in that moment, because you helped me through a moment of conflict and a lack of clarity, and you helped me find clarity. You didn't help me sell a product. You helped me discover where I wanted to go. So I thought about the relationships that I started to form in this community, and how I never thought I'd end up here, but somehow we ended up in the sex industry. We didn't plan on that. We didn't we didn't be like, at 5 years old, when I grow up.
Right.
But considering
I want to be a sex goddess.
I was considering for me.
You kind of knew something.
I was in the industry in 99.
You've been taking up for the 99 and the 2000s.
Yes.
Okay.
So I actually used to watch Berman and Berman. And that's
I used to watch Robin Bird.
Baby, real sex.
Well, Ruth yes, I used to watch her too, but Berman and Berman was how I knew that I was squirting and I was doing female ejaculation, because I did not understand. It's not. That's when I understood it, because I was like, oh, wait, what am I doing? And it wasn't until one episode they had
like a squirter.
She is. I'm not even going.
That's a whoppy.
Bedroom Candy is also the reason I know that she's a squirter.
Sometimes you can just feel it.
I issued a challenge. Listen, this is how you know. Let me tell you about this hoe right here. Right. And I gotta say that because we said the high priestesses is the host. The reason why I'm saying that right now is because I casually just said some shit on a call, a training call. I wasn't actually really challenging her.
It was a team call.
It was a team call.
It was your team call.
And she's the only one who thought this is the one homework assignment I'm completing. We had a new sex toy. We started carrying the womanizers with our company, right? And I'm not gonna go deep in womanizer's origin, but anybody who doesn't know the history of womanizer, the womanizer products were actually developed by a husband trying to solve a problem for his wife. Yeah. So we loved the idea of a man saying, I want my wife to come so bad. I'm a designer technology. We like that.
Right.
So we just got this product. And the first time
I came in a year,
they gave us a bunch of samples at the convention.
I wasn't there.
She wasn't there yet.
Nope.
So the first time we got introduced, we didn't have the real one yet. They had gave us these ones that had 30 minutes on it, right?
Oh.
So like once you use this toy for 30 minutes, it's not gonna cut on again. But that was supposed to give us the chance to sample.
Oh, okay.
Right? So we had all left training that day.
60 seconds of list.
Right. We went back to the hotel room. I know that I know that I was woken up because housekeeping was checking on me because they heard me yelling high and then a flat line, no voice, no. I fell asleep.
Like,
so they knocking me. You okay? I'm in there gone. If that moment, I'm like, shit. That was 2 minutes. I gotta use this sparingly until I get. So we got the real joint in. And now I'm on a call and I'm telling them like, listen, I want to see how long y'all can handle the top level. We have to let's see where our boundaries are, ladies.
Because we got to remember, most people only can go to between 1 and 3. They could
with that toy.
Pass.
It was like
I
a
understand
thing.
exactly what you're talking about.
So I wanted to see how. Just go to 6 and tell me how long you stayed there. This heifer said, I'm gonna get this video camera. I'm gonna set it up and I'm gonna let you see how long I last on 6. She sent me the evidence and the product of the evidence. And I said, bitch, that's not what I meant on a training call for the team. But
she's thorough, Virgo.
She wanted to make sure I had.
Tangible.
She wanted to make sure she could tell me it was 37 seconds, 0.3 milliseconds. Right? So somebody just sent me. She's the only person who actually did this casual thing I joked about. And I was like, this one different. I don't know why, but like these are the things that made me fall in love with Noni's personality. But I'm saying that to say we doing this fucking retreat, and I'm saying to myself, I actually had to tap into my Candy Burris. Shout out to Candy. Because Candy was the one who said when she founded Bedroom Candy, a lot of people asked her about starting up a toy company and all that stuff, especially as a Black woman pioneering that in a time period where that wasn't a thing, right?
Right.
So we have to credit that she actually played a huge role because you couldn't find that many Black-owned brands offering these type of products.
Of course.
So she said she stopped asking questions about, you know, the why not. She started asking, who can I collaborate with? And so when I kept having this conflict of saying, like, I know I can't pay for all these women to have this retreat experience out of my pocket, but who can I collaborate with? That's when we started talking about that, and Planned Parenthood came up. I went back to them, and lo and behold, they had just formed a separate entity called the Black Organizing Project. Planned Parenthood in New York has that project. I'm not sure about every city. I can't say that, but look into it.
You know, I'm in the Bible Belt.
Right. The Black Organizing Project was designed, especially because the conversation even around abortion was different for Black people. And this sector was set up to support individuals who are creating spaces for BIPOC people, right? So I was able to access a $15K funding
Blessings
from that project. Bedroom Candy also sponsored things for the retreat. I had other people who adding things in, and just things started happening. So with the $15K, we sat down. We were gonna figure out one thing that survival and trauma teach us. We know how to make porridge, baby, out of cornmeal. We're gonna figure out
15,000 ain't corn. It could do something.
Right. We looking at the we opened the cabinet and the refrigerator and said, what we got in here that we could cook?
We had 12.
It was
Was it 12 women?
Altogether, 22 of us occupied the property.
Right.
12 women were
12
of the
women
right.
that were gifted.
But everybody,
But if you work, you still receive.
Yes.
You know,
because
if the work working, you gonna give, and it's gonna give back to you.
And somehow we had a budget to kind of pay you, make sure the team got something, cover everybody's eating or whatever. So everything was fully sponsored. I went and got me a little van. I was like, meet me here. I'll drive y'all to the property. And so the drive there, everything was fun. We get to this house. Day one.
We had already saged the house.
We saged the home.
We saged
we threw that shit in the fireplace.
Yes. So me being the
on
spiritual person that I am, I was saged the whole entire
And within 10 minutes of walking in,
within 10 minutes,
who was coughing?
I've had that experience.
Once you saged the house, we sat down. All the people who had respiratory issues, people who were carrying life, started naturally just coughing up stuff. We had 2 pregnant women in the house. So we had 2 women actively with children, and we had someone who's dealing with other chronic illnesses who was repeatedly dealing with those issues. And as soon as they sat down and we said state your intentions, as they began speaking, they couldn't stop themselves from coughing.
Nope.
We had
purging.
They was even with us having the whole fireplace open, all these vent sources, we had to open every window, every door, everything in the house to kind of let that stuff leave out. Right.
Yeah.
We cried
because when they came in the door, because I was the first person that greeted. When I say the attack, I was like, really? This is what we do?
You immediately feel the energy of what is coming through the door. So these women
y'all
sit down.
Reclaim. Let's do it.
But they left different. They left
every single one of them are living a different life today. And I've never thought, I was like, damn, this was our first time pulling this off. But what was so crazy about the space, after we did the intentional setting the first day, we had our breakfast together as a family. We did our stretch upstairs. We did our little line. We had a little electric slide, everything in the morning before breakfast. So it was a real good Black girl vibe energy in there. And then we came later on that day because throughout the day we had somatic therapy sessions happening upstairs, right? So there was only one person who didn't participate just because of her discomfort with touch. But she was doing somatic massages, things like that. The room was beautiful. It was open out to the exterior. You saw nothing but green. You looked up, you saw nothing but sky. Beautiful. It was so gorgeous. So everything's going wonderful. And we get to this night where we having fun. We decided to play a game where we didn't really play the game how it was supposed to be played.
Nope.
The goal was drop a song. If we feel a vibe, we keep going. We keep singing. If you drop a song, you kill a vibe. Wham wham. You. That's like a L, right? But eventually, we just started playing music and letting everybody choose different songs, and we started singing and dancing and performing. And then as soon as everybody started having fun, everybody started laughing, right? So y'all came in the door crying. Y'all now laughing y'all asses off today, and I'm sitting over here in the corner
with a headache, a migraine from everyone's.
The harder they laughed, the more my head hurt. And I said to Noni, I was like, Noni, I need something. I think you brought me Tylenol, you brought me etc. I took all these things. Nothing got rid of this headache. I was still having fun.
Yeah.
But I was like, they laughing too hard. Next morning was the day of our last day. And I'm saying this because this is where the intention comes back around, especially to you. We ended up with that one person who didn't do the service because I did not put myself down
Nope.
for a session. I'm here to create
I did
space. I wasn't taking advantage of what I was creating for others.
Yep, I didn't do it. I was the only one
She
who
didn't
did
do it.
not get somatic healing.
She told me, and I think it was TT.
Okay.
And then you was like, I'm like, you got a vacancy, go do it. And I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be. And everybody's like, no, you go. Early in the morning. So I'm like, whatever, we ain't gonna waste it. You know, we're gonna go and do the session. Soma stands over me. She says to me, tell me about what's hurting you. Tell me what you're feeling. I said, I've not been able to get rid of this headache since last night. Nothing I've done. Nope. I went to the sauna. I went to the hot tub. Nothing got rid of this headache. And it's still here right now. I feel it. And so she looked at me. She put her hand over my head. And then she went straight to my feet. Right? And she started working my feet. Now, lo and behold, I never told her, but my feet, I was dealing with the aspects of my flat-footed plantar fascia. So I was dealing with issues and pain in my right foot also, but I never mentioned it. She started on the foot, right? And as she began to work that foot, the headache started to leave. She stood over me, and we looked at each other, and we both started crying uncontrollably.
Release is needed.
Girl,
yeah.
we both just crying. And she looks down at me and she goes, oh man, your spirit of the high priestess is insane. And I said, well, touche. Right? Like we had this moment and I looked up at the sky. I felt my grandfather's presence. I felt so much. The headache left. And ironically, simultaneously as she was doing it upstairs, that's when everybody was downstairs taking the letters that they wrote to themselves and burning them and releasing it outside.
Yeah, so they let it go.
They let it go. I let it go. I had to hold it. I feel like I became the conduit. You have to take it in, take it all, and then it had to be released. And we went outside all together
And
screamed and cried. And out of nowhere, we got confessions of people sharing that they had thoughts of taking their life. They have it like we're on the last day.
Yeah,
And that's when the real was
Work.
happening. And shout out to Dora Chambers, because Dora was the person who facilitated this part of it. And every woman, like it was just this unspoken, we ain't gotta say nothing else. We just all understood each
everybody
other.
bonded in a way that I've never seen before. And there are people who knew each other. There are people that never knew each other. I know the two people who I was like, they need to be there. They bonded at that time, doing things they've never done before, was outside, being free. And where they are in their life, if they did not come to that retreat, they would not be where they are.
Of course,
now.
yeah.
It became
I love a retreat family.
And you know what I think, and I want to say this to all of my retreat organizers. Sometimes y'all pack the schedule too damn heavy.
Yeah.
Y'all don't create room for the actual processing, for the work, for the solitude, for the there's so much going on that they're, again, performing wellness instead of being well, because it's not well to be sitting there all day consuming information. It's only talk about pain, only talk about hurt, only talk about trauma with the splash of fun. Like, you have to think about what the retreat is supposed to be from that perspective.
Yeah.
And I was really grateful that we were able to afford to do that without it being taxing on us, but it taught me a lot. And the reason why I'm saying that to you is because the biggest lesson, after we celebrated all the success, what was the one thing we said we was going to do differently next time?
That we were going to have time where we got for ourselves afterwards.
To rest.
Extra days in the house with just us, because we learned the level of energy that not only we were taking in, but we were exerting. And I'm saying that to you because I also feel like a part of your work is separating other people's shit from yours a little bit, because of your natural innate. Even when you're going through something, how that friend could call you and you could say you're not available to receive, but then you laugh a little bit, you reset, and you're like, okay, girl, let's go. You still are taking other people's things in. And eventually, right, for us, especially if you are a healer, your process for separating that shit has to be ritualistic. Yes. You have to be able to release. Not that the empath is going to take it in, but that last part. And so I'm coming to my girl over here because before I talk to products and we get up out of here, you create that, right? You create a community, you create a space. We all have those aspects in common, but we've talked about the ugly. We talked about what we need to start celebrating. We talked about what we need to bring back. I think the biggest theme of this conversation is how you understand what shifted in you with these different changes, these different transitions, with these different illnesses, with these different traumas. We get out of it. We get to this point of enlightenment. Sometimes it feels like almost later at a point in life. But how do I put it and say, I got to just put it straight out how I was
Give it to
feeling
me
it.
raw.
Yeah. Because you said something even about what you just spoke over Bedroom Candy. We needed that. This community needed that. Mm-hmm. It's more than what people think it is. And that has to be spoken. So let's go to the kinky side. Because through the healing, the sensory awareness, the sensory awareness starts to sharpen. And I find that a lot of times you come out of that understanding what your senses need that are not directly penetrative, that are not just about getting head, that are deeper than that. Yep. Whether it's the regulation that you require to prepare your mind and your body for that type of intimacy and pleasure, whether it is what you need to come out of it, right? And release what that experience even gave you in that moment. And that somatic kind of release that you can get from pleasure and kink that sometimes has nothing to do with physical penetration too, right?
Absolutely.
So what I want to go into is the kink side, because as we were talking earlier and I said something I just realized I needed to hear that just completely allowed me to let go of an aspect of kink that I felt the need to subscribe to. And that's, you guys might not think, those of us who are in tune still don't have those moments of being, bitch, why are you doing that?
Right. Absolutely.
Oh my God. So the wrist restraints. I just want to grab this.
I love them.
Right? And my relationship with them have changed. And I'm going to tell y'all why, because I need y'all to know that when we talk about products, we don't talk about them to sell them. We talk to you about it from the space of you figuring out which things
That part.
align with you.
Right.
I'm not selling you, baby. I can't do that. So these are like one of my favorite products when I first started. Right, I feel it. First of all, because first of all, we sensitive girls.
Okay.
You like that softness?
Yeah.
I was drawn to them.
I love the gold.
I love the fact that they were sturdy but had softness. It felt like me. I've tried handcuffs, other cuffs, never felt good in them. The first set of cups that I put, live with it. Live with it. Just live with it.
know what?
Shit, keep them.
Now that you did that.
I just opened them today.
Yes,
I'll show you the wrapper.
we gotta
Keep
get
them.
Yes.
Blessings.
We're going to give you the bag to put
Yes, we're gonna give you the silk. We're gonna give you the silk
We're gonna
protector
give you the
case
silk
and all that
protector,
for
yes.
it. I like they disconnect in the center also,
Okay.
so you
Okay.
can take them out. They could be attached to spreader bars. They could be attached to headboard,
the
all that
things.
stuff, right? And I like the fact. For me, I first liked them because I could do nasty stuff, and then I'm gonna look like a DV case tomorrow because my high yellow ass is gonna show you everything it did last night with the cuff mark right there. So I was like, he could pull me, yank me.
And
The
it's got
velvet
the
doesn't.
comfort on the inside.
And nobody will have to know what I did yesterday. I also like the fact that collection was something you could wear.
And nobody would
the
know.
collar, all of that, it looks like a fashion accessory, but then
Right. It really is.
So I was drawn to all of these things about the Dark Desires collection, and I realized I really don't have no Dark Desires no more. In the way that I used to. I don't actually like being in cuffs anymore. I don't like being restrained
Free.
anymore. When I said earlier, I needed a tub. I needed what I needed because I need movement and fluidity.
Those restrain you and you can't do the movement.
Yeah.
See,
It
that
actually
makes sense.
hold me back.
That makes sense.
And then I was talking to, me and Baby talking one time, and he said to me, him mapping my body was him also learning when to hold me still and when to let me go. Because sometimes you guys,
do y'all understand?
y'all just think you
guys.
doing something because you pinning her legs back and you
Right.
holding her down and she can't move so that you can exert as much of yourself as you want in her for the sake of your pleasure and not hers. You don't care if she needed to move. When our natural body, everything that we do is orchestrated through movement,
Right.
and all those types of things. So sometimes holding her back is actually the thing that denies her the release that she needs. And you have to pay attention to your partner's body language. He learned, and I never had a man map my body in this way, but he learned, I gotta hold you back in the beginning. I can't let you fight what I know you want and need. But once I know you've gotten what you want and need, it's like a release. Now I can let you experience it, right? So in the beginning, I was telling myself, the girl who could hold level 6, suddenly I was feeling like, bitch, you might be a level 2 girl now. My sensory system had become so sensitive, so fragile, and so responsive.
But
that
how
the
how long ago has that happened?
It's happened within these last 2 years since I've been diagnosed too.
I was about to say, because your diagnosis can play a part in it because now you're starting to see your sensory levels.
And I think it's also
understanding.
because I've done I'm not done. I'm still in it. that second phase of healing that this second right invites. So not even just the bodily and hormonal changes, just the awareness, the presence that I'm having with myself to notice, not just that I'm experiencing something, what I'm experiencing, why I'm experiencing, what am I feeling through it. Like I'm asking myself questions that a version of me didn't ask. She just did because she had already built a system around navigating shit. If I go through this, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be all right. Now I'm saying it's okay to not be all right. It's a different conversation. So once I started saying it's okay to not be all right, and I started letting myself not be all right, but doing it in spaces that felt all right, it changed everything. And at this given point in my life, I felt stuck. I felt that no matter what you're doing, you're seeing growth. It's insane. And I think all of us as hardworking people see this. Yes. You're like watching, I'm like, okay, my followers is growing. This is growing, this and that. Oh my God, match it over here. And I'm still feeling like you're moving, but you're not going anywhere. And
with that too is we are allowing people, and I've seen this recently and it makes sense. We hit 100K, right? People are like, oh, you got to hit 200K. Who said Can we just
be happy what we got?
Savoring has become a lost art.
Yes, you have to remind yourself that you're resourceful. You've been learned how to do with less.
But but that's also where we tend to fall at, because someone says we should be higher. Like I have a joke that I said when I was on a podcast recently. It hasn't aired yet, and I was like, I just want to go viral one time. Just one time. And one of the things I want to go viral for, how sex landed me in the ER. Those that know. And I'm like, I just want that one thing just to go viral.
And here's the thing, that somebody like me who's knows exactly what that feels like.
Gone viral
that's nothing, but you know what's
times.
so crazy? I still learn you got to still have the gratitude for each time, no matter how many times. But this is where the real shit. For me, what ended up happening is, what's my mantra? I am my own GPS.
Right.
Yeah. I say this all the time, and people talk about Jesus taking the wheel, God taking the wheel. Let's remove religion from this conversation.
Pussy take the wheel.
Right? Okay. And to me, when you start to lack certainty, you lack confidence.
Yes.
When you start to question things that previously felt certain,
yep.
Now you're also creating room for doubt. When you do those things, it's hard to get in the car and drive. Because sometimes you get in that motherfucker and you sit there. And you sit there and you sit there. And what I've been doing? Sitting in my car. I've been working out of my car. I've been sitting in my car hours and hours and hours. Not necessarily going anywhere.
Right.
Just sitting in
working
your car.
in an environment. Right.
It's a cocoon. It's a safe space for you that ain't nobody else.
And I only do that in the wintertime when I can't be outside. Right. So now as I'm starting to say, okay, but you know what? You always been a systematic thinker. You always been a big picture thinker. We got to stop looking at these isolated incidents, and we need to start actually compiling it and doing what our doctors won't do for us. Which is look at the big full ass picture and not just the thing in front of us.
Right. But nobody don't want to really listen to us when we talk about the big picture. And I can say that in the chronic illness, for me, having conversations with my hematologist, I'm like, okay. I was like, so can I get lupus? He's like, no. But mind you, the research I showed has already shown within 2 to 5 years.
I had to remind my doctors that I pay them.
To the point where it's like, even to the point that there are APS, what are those things called when you can go trials? Mm-hmm. How you not know when this is your one of your specialties, because it's a rare blood disorder and you specialize in rare blood disorder. It may not be in the hospital that you're affiliated with, but how come there are 12 hospitals that are doing this research with this?
Can't be for nothing.
Why do I have to tell you about this?
Well, my thing is, I've learned with medical doctors, and I said that in a blunt way when I said you got to remind them that you pay them. I mean it though,
but it is true.
because there's an accountability measure that sometimes people who have a certain credential think that they're exempt from, because they have a way of minimizing you through the intelligence that they believe they have, and they don't understand that you will always be the biggest professional of you. That you are sitting with me for this period of time. So what I started doing in that process of compiling what's been going on here, what's going on, and I put it together. I started to compile an entire thing. This is where we get along, because that's where I might stimulate your Virgo with them details and shit. But I sent the doctor a PDF and said, here's everything here's a full picture. Here's what I've learned. I'm sending this to you in advance, well before my appointment, because I'm expecting that when I arrive, you will have taken time to go through all this information.
That's beautiful. You know, when I went through my journey, because I was trying to figure out, you know, autoimmune, different things. My partner, shout out to my partner, love him, thank God for him. I found a holistic doctor, which of course no insurance, no, that you got to go a whole round.
You gotta,
and the way that they looked at care sounds like the way that y'all advocated for yourself inside of, I mean, deep questionnaires, environmental, physical, emotional, spiritual. I mean, it was very deep and wide inside of, before you diagnose me with anything, like how are you sleeping, how are you eating, and some people don't even think about themselves like this. So I love what you said around how you sent that to him, because they did like it's a case study. Every person, it's a case study. And
My menopause doctor did that.
Yeah,
I had went to a menopause clinic. The GYN doctor was like, oh, I can't give you hormones because you on a whole nother spectrum. So we going to send you here.
Right.
And when I had that appointment with that woman, she had every note on me affiliated.
And that's true care.
And she was like, no. And then she was like, speak to your hematologist, because I think I was going to see my hematologist like a little bit after. And she was like, if he says you can't have topical, then I respect that. Then you can't, because yes, I can't be like everybody else and just go and have some estrogen and everything, even the topical. And the reason why he said I couldn't do the topical is because I just was a year out into having a DVT again. If it was when I first did it in 2023, he was like, it might, 2022, he said it might have been okay. He said, but it's only been a year. He said, you've only been on Lovenox a year.
You got to give him time.
I can't, I said, I respect you, but in my mind, I was like,
that's what that's why they always say that second opinion. The funny thing is the advocacy that you've been speaking about, I didn't even learn it from my experience. That's the crazy. I learned it from my child's experience. Right. Advocating for my child made me realize where I wasn't advocating for myself. And a lot of times when you are the kind of parent who's always seeking to figure out how to be that best caregiver that you can be, but also acknowledging when you're not the best person for the job when it comes to your child, you would detach the pride associated with the lessons that you would get from your kids. I stood in that room and I never forget with my son being in the hospital, me knowing something was wrong, him showing me a sign that something was wrong, and letting these people keep telling me that it was a different thing going on. And I kept saying, I don't think that's what's happening. And I think you're basing his care off of this one thing that I believe is wrong. And it's this one thing has the ability to change everything we're doing right now. And so bedside manner was horrible. This person spoke to me a certain way, and I requested the attending, and I requested the chief to come to the room. And then I pulled on the spirit of all of my ancestors.
Baby.
I called Harriet and every motherfucking shot she fired out there in the forest for the motherfuckers that didn't want to listen when she said shut the hell on up. I called her. I called Sojourner, a little bit of Maya Angelou, because she's that prostitute reform poetic word. I wanted all of y'all there. I want all y'all come to the room with me today. But
and
really,
that's real.
No, because I needed them to not mistake it for aggression or anger, and understand
and that's the problem.
She wasn't playing about your.
I wasn't playing about mine.
And
at minimum, don't dismiss me, explore it, rule it out, but don't tell me outright without you doing the diligence required. So I had basically, long story short, I'm not gonna go deep. They had 2 machines. He was there for his asthma. He had pneumonia. He had the flu. And his asthma was acting up simultaneously. One of them was attacking his right lung and caused it to collapse. So he was working hard to breathe over just one. And he ended up needing, anytime that oxygen came off his face, his oxygen levels would come down too low for us to feel comfortable with him in his sleep. And for a week, I sat there in that bed, watched my baby go through this, feeling helpless. But then I started to see his behavior change, and the numbers not look no different on this machine. It kept reading this low oxygen number, but I'm like, this does not support. He's like, Mommy, I want to go for a walk around the hall. Mommy, I want to go house. He's conveying to me he's ready. And they're like, we can't discharge him until we see his oxygen baseline at least here and above. And I'm like, I don't think this is just right. Like, so just so happens, I prayed on it. And when I say I pray on it, I'm not just talking to God. Like, when I say I pray on it, because I think we always overlap the spirituality, really it was just me speaking to, like, when one mother cries, we all cry kind of energy. Right? So it's just like, God, I'm just the mother trying to help her child. Like, please help me
out.
with what I need to help my
surrender.
child.
What I
Yes,
need.
I give in. I realize I don't know what to do right now because my emotions are preventing that part of my brain that would have kicked into gear and made it happen.
Because we doing we responding on emotional.
Trying to respond to my shit, right? So, but another nurse came in, and the machine he was on did not print data, and she needed to get a printout to stick in his chart. So she had to bring a newer machine that does the printout. So now he's connected to both machines. She's testing his oxygen from his toe and his finger at the same time. This one is reading 88 oxygen. This is reading 96.
Right.
And this is exactly what I felt was the case. And in that moment, I realized I've been saying this for 2 days and nobody listened to me. And now I'm confirmed. Now y'all didn't want to give me this shit. So I called that attendant here and I said to her, to the nurse, it's your job to care. It's your job to treat. In order to treat and care, there's a level of empathy that's required that no one on this floor has possessed up until this point. As a mother has sat in this room with her child, who she is literally struggling to see breathe air when I gave him life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He took his first life after being disconnected from my umbilical cord. You gonna tell me I can't tell how to help my child that's breathing? I've been listening to him breathe since before he
the
came
first
into the
breath,
world.
right.
And you gonna tell me that I'm wrong about this? But it was more so the fact that the arrogance of the other doctor, the resident doctor, who just continuously said, well, you know, the data doesn't. Why are you only looking at that data? He is data.
Right.
So once I expressed to the attending, I said, I'm going to give you a disclaimer that this isn't going to sound good to any of you guys' ears. And I need you to listen past that tone. Mm-hmm. I need you to listen deep into the word. I need you to understand that you guys caused my child the anxiety. Y'all literally came here and spoon fed my child anxiety, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in here. And then told him there was a problem with his breathing when y'all were directly causing the issue that was making it hard for him to breathe and ignoring when I was trying to signal to you that that's no longer the case. And I said, and I'm hoping that this serves as a lesson to every single person in this room that you can never invalidate the knowledge of a parent when it comes to their child, because you are spinning you doing a round. You coming in here 5 minutes to try to ask me what's going on when I've been studying this motherfucker since he started coughing 10 days ago. Right. And so it's what I learned through this year is that when in doubt, believe. And the reason why I say that is because the two are a construct of the same thing. Faith and doubt are the same. I mean, people don't realize.
Two sides of the same coin.
You gotta believe in what you have to trust in your intuition.
You do doubt because you do put more things into doubt, not realizing.
Exactly.
We are taught that. To doubt everything.
You can bank on doubt, but you don't bank on faith.
Right. It's a trauma response because we have been teaching ourselves to prepare for the worst case scenario.
Right.
So we lean towards preparation of the worst case scenario, and we're happy and surprised if it goes differently, but we don't speak it, we don't anticipate it, we're not always manifesting it. But really what I'm saying in this is that as I'm coming through all of these experiences and learning the importance of the advocacy in our medical realm, giving grace to the doctors for what they don't know.
Right.
No,
right.
I'm sorry. Noni is not giving grace because Noni is tired of
different
it.
Over there, honey.
Right? Because I am tired of it. If I'm telling you,
right,
this is what's going. I know my body. I'm not making it up. No, I'm not giving grace. I'm sorry.
And that's why when I say I'm giving grace, what that means is I'm releasing that person.
You're giving it to yourself.
Because the thing is, I've already decided I no longer feel safe with you as a medical practitioner.
Yeah.
So
I can say
when
that.
I say I'm going to give you the grace, I'm going to let you go learn, but you're not about to learn on me.
Right.
And I think that's the discernment that I talked about before. It looks like, oh, I'm not taking this shit from no doctor. But then I also realized, so why am I going to keep paying this person and making appointments with a person who's going to get paid for my presence to not care for me and not treat me when that's literally the job? So once I started saying that, I started to take control over what I could control. I can't control whether you're going to learn it or know it or look for it or seek it, but I can control whether I choose to come to you with it any longer.
And that's why there's doctors I stopped seeing because of that.
Yes, and so you're speaking about your journey to getting to that point, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people also don't realize the medical trauma
about the kink
that
part
we
too.
have. Genetically in our DNA inside of the fear that we have to even go to the doctor, the fear that we have to speak up for ourselves in the doctor, the fear we have of certain tests, expecting the worst. We know the histories. The knowledge has been coming out inside of the things that our ancestors have experienced inside of the medical field, right? But also, like you said, preparing for the worst is something that we're kind of taught like as a trauma response, as a
Yeah.
coping mechanism, where expecting the best is a new tune.
Yes.
It's a new tune, but it does exist. And I think that expecting the best is a part of advocacy that we don't think about.
Because you don't advocate for what you don't believe you actually can create some level of change in. And I agree
think
with
about
that.
what I went
That's
through,
a really good
you
point.
know, with my partner, he was my expect the best. He was, you know, sometimes you do need to keep that hope, especially when it's
That
like, what is
optimism.
this?
Them
We can't-
partners that do that, because I'm not gonna lie, he be like, listen, it's gonna be fine.
Like, I know you
It's
don't want to
gonna-
go. We're going to have to go.
Right.
We're going to try this again.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be better. It's not that. Like, I had that even when I had lumps in my breasts. Like, they were found lumps. It's nothing. It's fat. And it ended up being fatty tissue. But at
Blessings.
that moment, you not thinking
Right.
of that. It's
It
like,
takes you to the worst. That's
it
what you're
keep-
taught.
yeah.
When you
Yeah.
go into, when you taught you going to the hospital, death is there. You know, we have our issues around death. We talk about healing and trauma, but the medical trauma is something that's ancestral for us as well.
yeah.
It's a real, like, for me, going to, like I said, 2022 was when I first had DVT. So I'm finally like, oh yes, okay. When I went to the hematologist, because my primary care doctor tried to tell me that I caught the blood clots from getting on a plane for an hour and a half ride and COVID. And I said, I didn't have none of that's not true. And that's all she kept saying to me. And I was like, that's not really what it is. When I went to the hematologist, what I loved about the hematologist, the female PA that I had, the listening skills that she has, the amazingness that she has. And she told me, she was like, this blood test came back positive. She said, but we can't diagnose it
Right.
because you just got on anticoagulants. So we have to wait 3 months. I was like, okay. So my brain was like, all right, we're going to knock this out. We're going to take this for 3 months and we're going to be good. I end up catching COVID on my birthday after convention.
I remember that year.
So I had to wait a whole nother month to get this blood work done.
Oh man, I had a whole download about COVID.
Right?
Girl.
So a whole nother month. So I go into the doctor. I remember I had on this purple shirt.
Huh?
Oh yes, these white shorts. I'm in the doctor. I'm taking pictures. I'm feeling all happy, getting my blood work done or whatever. And she came back, and all I could do was cry, because in my mind I went into, I'm gonna be healed because this is just this for this moment, not understanding that was what changed my whole life. But what was that is a year before I was diagnosed, I had got the first COVID vaccine.